It's less than a week to Halloween at the time of recording. This coming weekend is October 31st. And I'm interested to know today whether you're excited by this prospect. Here in Queensland at the time of recording, we have a state election on Saturday, so I don't know whether we're more focused on that or on Halloween, or whether it's neither for you. And I'd really love to know, is Halloween something that you like to partake of in? Is it a celebration, a custom, a ritual that you enjoy, that fulfills you, that enriches your life? Or is it one of those occasions that fills you with dread? Usually, Halloween marks the start of the official silly season. It marks the start of many social occasions and many times of more indulgent, less healthy food, more times of overabundance, overeating. Which means that for many of us, it's a time of dread, regret, anxiousness. Maybe it's a time of willpower and determination and white knuckling it. This all got me thinking about, in our healthy life, how do we plan for times when there might be more indulgence? Or how do we treat and enjoy foods in our life that aren't nutritionally sound, that aren't necessarily healthy? And I think it's an important question to answer. So I thought this week's healthy habit should all be about planning for indulgences. Now, when I grew up, Halloween wasn't really a thing here in Australia. Certainly not something we grew up with and never really participated in. Now, of course, with the growing influence of American culture, it seems to be a rising trend of more people wanting to participate in this eating occasion, this holiday, this celebration or festival. You might have seen the Halloween decorations, etc., in the supermarkets for months. I'm sure if you have, you've also seen a focus on increased things like lollies and chocolates and chips and, you know, often I think it's just an excuse for a party, an excuse to eat lots of unhealthy foods. Now, of course, there is the fun aspect as well. A lot of the rituals, the trick or treating, dressing up in costumes, going out, meeting our neighbors, connecting with people. Now, of course, in our current COVID environment, I'm not sure how possible that's going to be. Either way, it's not so bad, but lots of people want to. And for me, it's no big deal. It's just really not a holiday I participate in. It doesn't concern me either way. I have no problem with people who do want to, and I have no problem with people who don't want to. But I do know for those of you who are worried about it, or who have kids or grandkids who are very excited about the prospect, I think it's important to learn how to manage these types of occasions in a healthy way so that we can continue with our weight loss or weight maintenance. We can live our healthy life, even when there's temptation foods around. So I'd love for you to let me know. If you are watching a replay, make sure you say hi. And I really want to know, how excited are you? How big a deal is Halloween for you? Or if it is or it isn't, I guess, let me know, when are the times that you are most likely to find yourself confronted, tempted with lots of high energy, low nutrient, what we sometimes call junk food, or discretionary choices? Where are those occasions where you're confronted with lots of unhealthy food? And let's share your strategies. Let's help with each other. What are your strategies for managing those times? What I often see when I'm working with clients is they get into the diet mentality, where it's either unhealthy food, chips, chocolates, lollies, alcohol. These are bad foods we can't have. And this ends up setting up a very unhealthy relationship with these foods, particularly if there's something you actually enjoy. Now, if you don't enjoy chocolate or alcohol, there's absolutely no reason for you to have it. But if you do, thinking of it as being bad or wrong, or that you're naughty for having it, isn't actually very helpful. It doesn't help you generate a healthy relationship with those foods. What that means is you either then have to just resist, what we call white knuckling. You have to try and not have it, not have it, not have it, not have it, right? Your brain's like, don't eat the chocolate, don't eat the chocolate, don't eat the chocolate. And all that's happening is your brain's thinking chocolate, 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 and lighting up all of those reward centers in the brain. It's firing up your anticipation. So we end up just resisting. Now, of course, when we're just resisting food, we're just be strong, be disciplined, be focused. It never works. Like I learned this from my coach. She talks about it this way, which I really love. It's like holding a beach ball underwater. You know, if you've ever been in a pool or something and you've got a beach ball and you're trying to hold it underwater, it's a lot of work to resist, to suppress, to deny, to be focused. And ultimately, it doesn't work. Ultimately the air pressure has its way and it kind of explodes out. And this is what happens when we try and cut out foods, or we try and eliminate them completely. We try and not have them around. Now, sometimes when you're first starting out, that can be an okay place to get started until you've got some of your other healthy habits in place. But once you're in the place where you're regularly eating healthy foods, you've sorted out your portions, you're listening to your body, and you've kind of got that all in there. And so I think it's important to use these times to develop a healthier relationship with these discretionary, indulgent, unhealthy foods. Again, joy foods are the kind of foods that we have simply for the pleasure of it, not because we think it's healthy or it's going to keep us full. In fact, we know quite clearly that it isn't those things. Now, I think one of the reasons why Halloween and even Christmas, all these other times, are not such a big deal for me is because I plan for indulgences within my weekly healthy balance. I plan for indulgences. I allow myself to have them so that I build a trust with myself, build a relationship with myself where I can choose how much I'm going to have and stop at that amount. And that comes with a bit of practice, of course. So, how do we do it? How do you get there? That's what I want to try and help you with this week. And I want to try and keep it simple. We could really go into this. Like, if you want to see a more in-depth video on planned indulgences, you can go to livemorelife.com.au and go back to April 2020. It's video number 66, planned indulgences. I did this video pre-Easter, talking about how to plan in indulgences in a healthy way. For this week, I think just the act of planning it, just deciding in advance. So here's my first thing. Decide, do you want to participate in Halloween? And if so, at what level? Remember, there's lots of different levels of participation. You can have no control, no willpower, just go and eat everything. I want you to consider how that feels afterwards, right? So often we think about temptation foods and they're kind of exciting in anticipation ahead of time. We're like, ooh, yeah, I really like that. But often our experience of eating it isn't all of that amazing, right? Remembering that all the pleasure is usually in about the first 3 bites of any food. After that, we're kind of just eating it. And of course, then when we get into overeating and over-consuming, often it's not pleasurable. The experience is not pleasurable of actually doing that. You know, we feel sick, we feel bloated, and then we have regret afterwards. We feel remorse, we might beat ourselves up, tell us we're no good, we can't do it, we've blown it. These are all terrible, terrible thoughts. And so think about that as a package deal, right? If I'm going to have it, is that the kind of package deal that I want? With all the unpleasantness, the remorse, the regret, the bloating, all of the other consequences. Or do I want to feel proud of myself afterwards? Do I want to feel like I participated at the level that was comfortable for me in a healthy balance, in a way that I want to sustain? So part 1, set your intention. Think about how much do I want to participate? Now, do I want to just participate in the dressing up, in the play aspects of it, in the connection, in the social aspects of it? Do I want to have some treats? If so, how much? Let's decide in advance what you're going to have and how much. Now, some of you might know, if you're new to the group, welcome. Hi, I'm Brian. I'm your host. I'm a life and weight loss coach. I've lost 50 kilos. I lost those in 2006 and 2007, and I've maintained them ever since, including every holiday, every celebration, every travel, every week. I maintain my goal weight because I really changed that relationship with food, and with myself. So one of my things is that I have dessert every day. I decided that when I was going to lose my weight, that if I had to give up my dessert, I just knew I wouldn't stick to it. Um, whenever I feel like I'm having my dessert, I don't feel like I'm on a diet. And I'm not on a diet. I've changed my relationship with food, so it's in a healthy balance. Now, do I have a much healthier dessert than I used to? Yes, absolutely. I've talked about in previous videos. I used to go out with my dance class. We would do the swing and ballroom dancing and things like that, Latin, for a couple of hours. Then we'd all go out for gelato. Afterwards, we'll go to Baskin Robbins. And my ice cream of choice was the Jamocha Almond Fudge Triple Scoop Sundae with fudge and cream and nuts, but no cherry, because I don't like glacé cherries. Now, having that ice cream included way more kilojoules than, way more fats and sugars than the amount I had burnt off in the class. So even though it was a really good workout for a 2-hour dance class, it completely undid all of my hard work straight away. So now I still include dessert. But if I'm going to have ice cream now I might have a serving of Halo Top ice cream, or I might have the Skinny Cow ice cream. I find myself a healthier version, and I have it in a much more portion controlled way. And I enjoy it. Now, sometimes I just have a hot chocolate, and I have, I use the Jarrow Chocolate, and I have like yogurt and berries. That's the dessert I plan in every day. And I allow a little wiggle room if I want to have a small piece of chocolate or a biscuit or something else that I know that is a treat or indulgent. And I just plan it in. I just put it in at the start of my day. Where I do my planning ahead, and maybe we'll have another workshop completely on planning ahead, but my dessert goes in first, right? I always like to think what's important to me, or what's unexpected. What's the thing I have to plan in and plan around this week? I put it in first. Then I put in my regular things. What am I looking forward to? What am I anticipating? My main meals. That's usually sort of the biggest focus of my kilojoules in the day. Then I'll just schedule in my regular breakfasts. They're all about the same sort of healthy levels. And then my lunches, and then I fill in any gaps if I need be for snacks. Okay, so let's come back to the point. Planning in indulgences. They're important to have, right? But you have to set an intention. How do I want to feel about myself next week, the week after, looking back on this Halloween? Do I want to be proud of myself? Do I want to go, yeah, I participated exactly the amount that I wanted to? Or I didn't participate at all, it wasn't a big deal. Right? Or do you want to be thinking, I've blown it, I'm no good, I overdid it? Really decide in advance what you want your outcome to be. Then decide, what do I have to have? What's really important to me? What's a non-negotiable? And can you put that in first? So what am I going to have? What's non-negotiable? And how much? And then, what is my plan for sticking to that amount? Right? Couple of techniques to help you here. Right. What other snacks am I going to have around? What other healthy treats will I provide that are going to be my go-to options? Let's designate some go-to options. If you feel like you are hungry and you have the temptation foods around, what am I going to first? In previous weeks, we've talked about snacks and treats together. So that whenever I have a treat type food, I want to have a snack food, a healthy food that's actually going to fill me up. So for instance, you might have a individually wrapped chocolate. Okay, I'll have it with an orange or a pear or an apple, a piece of fruit, or some snow peas. I have a treat and a snack. And the idea of the snack is there to fill you up. So what are my filling foods? What are going to help me stay satisfied without overeating? The chocolates, the chips, the lollies, whatever it is. How am I going to portion control it? What am I going to do with the excess? What am I going to do with the leftovers? Right? You really want to decide that, right? I also like to think about if it's for someone else, it's for the kids, or it's to give away to people who are trick-or-treating, or the grandkids, or whoever, hubby, partners. If it's for them, I like to designate it as their food in my mind. Right? And I have a rule that I don't eat other people's food. I don't want to take away from other people. That's their food. It's not my food. It's not available to me. So just in my head, I just make it not available to me. I don't eat other people's food. We've thought about snacks and treats, filling up. Planning in what you have, portioning it out, and then getting rid of the excess or having it put away. I often think about people buy all these things for the party or for the celebration or for the kids. And when we end up eating it, we just use it as an excuse for ourselves to have it around. So watch out for that if you know that. Be onto your brain and don't let it go there. Right? Go, well, do I really need it? If so, why? What's my reason? Do I like my reason for having it around? Planned indulgences. Plan it in, decide on how much, set a powerful intention. Make sure you check in with who you want to be afterwards. Decide what is your food and what isn't your food. How are you going to have your portions controlled? Are you going to have your snacks to fill up on? How am I going to get my nutrition that my body needs? How am I nurturing my body during this time instead of hurting my body? Can I participate in ways that don't involve food? Can I just enjoy the social connection? Can I give out small gifts? A little present instead. Can I give out, I saw another example, I'm not sure whether it's one thing we want to do during COVID, but of getting like rolls of 5-cent pieces. You put them in a big bowl, right? You maybe get, I don't know, $20 worth. I mean, how much would you spend on unhealthy food? Go spend that much on getting rolls of 5-cent pieces and put them in a bowl. And then letting people just come and, like kids getting a handful or giving them a bunch of 5-cent coins instead of lollies and chocolate. If you're going to have the party, how much does each person need, right? Often we massively overcater. Do we need lollies and chocolate and nuts and dips and crackers and cheese and do we need all the things? Probably not. If so, how much does each person need, right? If I'm catering for 20 people, I don't need 20 people's worth of all of the things. Like a full serve for each person for 20 people. That's 400 people's serve if I've got 20 things, right? Have it planned in. Have a plan for the leftovers. Let's just get them gone. If you don't need them around, if they are a temptation, get them gone. Decide in advance. When we do plan it in, and then we practice honoring our plan, honoring ourselves, honoring our commitment to ourselves. I really love that. I actually looked up some definitions of commitment earlier today. And the one from vocabulary.com I really loved. And it said, the act of binding oneself intellectually or emotionally to a course of action. Binding yourself to a course of action, intellectually or emotionally. Now, I think those two are quite different. Sometimes we do things intellectually, but we remember that in the moment, our brains, our bodies are responding emotionally. So I think the emotional connection is the important one here. You need both, but the emotional connection. So how am I committed to my healthy life, to nurturing my body, to looking after me, to having any treat I have in a healthy balance overall? So do you know what is the amount for you that you feel satisfied with, you enjoy, that also helps you lose or maintain your weight, that helps you feel good afterwards? Right? Do you know? If not, your quest might be, and I really love this idea of doing this quest, find the minimum amount that satisfies you. What is the smallest amount you can have that actually feels satisfying? Now, when you're eating, remember, you got to wait about 20 minutes to get the I'm full satisfaction signal to your brain. So when you're thinking about the minimum amount, try one bite, one piece of chocolate, one lolly. Set a timer and wait 20 minutes and notice how you feel. Here's what usually happens. Urges, temptations, cravings, for most people last about 90 seconds. unless we resist them. We think we shouldn't, I can't, I've got to be focused, I've got to be disciplined, I can't have it, it's bad. Then that just keeps it circling in our brain. When we allow it and go, oh, I notice I'm really tempted by that chocolate. Ooh, my brain's telling me that would be a really exciting idea right now to have a handful of Ollies. Okay, I'm just going to allow that. I'm just going to sit with it. I'm just going to see how I feel in a couple of minutes. Maybe set a timer. 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Walk away from the visual trigger. And just recheck in. Very often your brain will have moved on from the moment. Now, of course, remember we've got visual triggers and we've got social triggers. So we've got all the triggers around if it's in sight. So you might want to get it out of sight. Put it in a box, in an opaque container. Put it in some really ugly wrapping paper, that, where you can't see it. Remove the visual triggers. And then social triggers. Okay, we have mirror neurons where we like to do what other people around us are doing. So it might be worthwhile surrounding yourself with images, cues of being healthy, people being healthy. Do you have those pictures around that are going to remind you? Is that next to? One of the ways I helped myself when I was losing my weight is I had my before photo, my photo of me with my extra 50 kilos on. I put it on the fridge. So at any time I was reaching for food, I had that visual reminder of like, oh, what am I really reaching for? Am I reaching back for that? Or something else? And again, it's just a visual reminder of what you want. So take notes of what you want. Put those reminders around near where the food's going to be, where the temptations are going to be. Is it going to be the screensaver on your phone? Is it going to be a note by the candy? It's going, this is not for me. This is not mine. What is it going to be? Because I am a healthy person. I'm committed to living my healthy life. And that means losing my weight and maintaining it forever. We do that with healthy habits. So we do have to include in treats and indulgences. We have to learn how to have a healthy relationship with them. We need to develop our own strategies for what works so that it's not something we have to fight against or resist. It just becomes natural, like breathing, right? I have an egg allergy. I'm allergic to eggs. And, I have no thoughts, like it just doesn't, it can be eggs on the table, for instance, and it just doesn't interest me at all. I'm just not, my brain doesn't even give me the option to eat it. It's like, no, why would I? I also have pretty much the same relationship with chocolate, with lollies. It's just like, okay, why would I? Now, the reason I got there, the way I got there, I didn't used to have that. It used to be, oh, chocolates there, lollies there, I better have a few. In fact, let me pick out all my favorites first. Make sure I get them. But by breaking that association with the good times, the celebration, and the food, right? By having the good times, etc., without the unhealthy food, or with actually just honoring yourself and sticking to your portion, your brain learns that, oh, having the excess, having more, eating until we stop, going until it's gone, just isn't something we do anymore. We eat this amount, we stick to it. That's it. It's the power of planning ahead generally, deciding in advance, because then we're using our logical, cognitive brain ahead of time. So you've got to make sure your plan is realistic. Right? If you're someone who is tempted, okay, allow yourself, plan to be tempted. But also, remember that you don't have to give in to that temptation. You can just allow it to be there and not respond. You can pace yourself. You can plan it out. You can decide, how am I filling up so that I don't keep going back? All right. Well, I'd love to know what techniques you use this week. What indulgences will you plan in, if any? And what are your strategies for sticking to them? How will I make these choices aligned with the person I want to be? Now, if you do want some worksheets, I have a couple of worksheets I've done. Again, you can head to livemorelife.com.au and go to video 66 from April this year for planned indulgences. That has a planner for a week in there. So it's got a week planner, and then each day planning out your breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, desserts, exercise, all planned in there. So you can do that. And I have two columns. You have what did I plan? And then I have another column for what did I actually have? And if it wasn't what was on plan, why? Really get to understand, what are my triggers? What are my habits here? What are the reasons my brain gave me in the moment? So that's really good tracking. I also have another worksheet, and I might put the link in the comments down below, which is my saying yes or saying no worksheet. And it just lets you each day go, this is what I said yes to and why. This is what I said no to and why. Want a third worksheet? I have my eating awareness worksheet. I'll post that link as well. And it's, again, something you can do. When you're first learning this, you might be doing a retrospect. I ate something, but let me sit down and complete an eating awareness worksheet. Why am I eating this? Right? With time, you get to do this ahead of time. Why am I about to eat this? So why did I? How hungry was I? If it wasn't hunger, what was I actually trying to solve? Why was it this food and not some other food? Right? Why did I overeat chocolate and not cauliflower? Right? Why was it this particular choice? What problem was I solving? And then, was this an act of self-love, nurturing, or self-care? Or was it self-harm? Was I hurting myself with food? Why? How do I feel about making this choice in this amount that I ate it? Right? Because sometimes it's not the choice, it's the amount. And if I did love and care for myself in this moment, what would I choose? And finally, what would I do now? So if you want those worksheets, I'll pop them in the links below, and feel free to download them and use them. But otherwise, let's plan in some indulgences, and then let's practice honoring our commitment to ourselves. Make that emotional connection, that emotional commitment to the person you want to be, the life you want to be living. And let's just practice it. I don't expect anyone to be perfect. And I certainly don't expect anyone to beat themselves up if they aren't. That's not allowed. What we are going to do is we're going to set an intention. We're going to plan it in. We're going to practice. And we're going to learn from what works. And when it doesn't, we're going to learn from that too. And then make an adjustment so we can make a more realistic plan next time, next time, next time. Really, this is an opportunity to start setting yourself up for a forever, where you have any unhealthy choice, any indulgence, in a healthy balance. Just think how fun that can be when you're at that level. Hint? It's pretty good. All right. Well, no matter what you're doing this weekend, if you're participating in Halloween or not, if you're having a social party, you're having a gathering, or you're just staying at home, staying safe, enjoy the week and just make it part of your healthy life, no matter what. Of course, if you are in Queensland, don't forget to vote. We do have a state election. All right. Well, I hope that's been helpful for you today. I know I went on a little bit. Let me know. Tell me in the comments what you liked, what you heard, what's worked for you, and let's work together across this week to get those indulgences in a healthy balance for our healthy life. And we get to achieve our healthy weight and keep it. If you want more help transitioning into the life that you want to be living, rather than the life that you have, then remember, you can always sign up for a free exploratory coaching session with me on my website. Go to livemorelife.com.au and click on free exploratory session. Fill in the form and I'll be in touch to help you out. Talk to you soon.